The scariest part of launching this game was not writing the code. It was realizing that my machine was slowly becoming the bottleneck. Every AI agent made me faster, but every faster iteration produced more Unity cache, more Xcode output, more QA artifacts, more logs, more temporary builds, and more ways to accidentally lose control of the system. At some point, the question changed. It was no longer, can I build the game? It became, can I keep the build environment healthy enough to keep building? That is what this video is about. Not a flashy AI demo, not a perfect productivity system, just the practical engineering work of managing memory pressure and disk cleanup while using AI agents as an indie dev. The lesson I learned is simple. AI agents increase output, but output creates pressure, runtime pressure, disk pressure, process pressure, and release risk. If you do not build a system around that pressure, the speed eventually turns against you. The first thing I had to separate was two different problems that looked similar. The first was runtime managed memory pressure. That means when the game is actually running, is managed memory growing in a controlled way, or am I slowly leaking memory across the run? The second was development machine pressure. That means, is my local environment filling up with generated files faster than I can reason about them? Unity library caches, Xcode generated projects, derived data, simulator outputs, archive folders, debug symbols, QA reports, temporary recordings, all of that can be useful. But all of it can also become noise. And when you are building alone, noise is expensive. So I stopped treating cleanup as housekeeping. I started treating it as part of the production system. For managed memory, the most important shift was making memory visible inside QA. Not as a vague feeling, not as the game seems fine, but as measured evidence. Each run needed to report the number of frames sampled, average frame time, worst frame time, peak managed memory, and managed memory growth. That gave me a baseline: start memory, end memory, peak memory, growth. Once those numbers existed, the agents could help investigate regressions without guessing. If memory growth was stable, we could move forward. If a frame spike appeared, we could ask why. One run exposed an expensive smoke path. That was a real systems moment. The fix was not optimize everything. The fix was specific. Pre-warm the effects, cache pooled component lookups, cap the expensive smoke behavior, then rerun the validation and compare the numbers. That is the difference between panic optimization and engineering. Panic optimization says something feels slow. Engineering says this path caused a spike. Here is the budget, here is the fix, here is the proof after the fix. AI agents were genuinely useful here. They could inspect code, they could summarize reports, they could propose likely causes, they could patch narrow areas, they could help maintain the written evidence. But I had to give them a rule. Agents can think in parallel. Heavy execution must be serialized. That became one of the most important rules in the whole project. No two agents should run Unity batch mode. Xcode builds, archives, simulator QA, or headed test flows at the same time. Those jobs are not normal text tasks. They touch shared caches. They launch helper processes. They create huge generated folders. They can leave stale state behind. So the workflow became slower in one place, but safer overall. For a small code change, run a small test. For a related batch, run the larger validation. For a release candidate, run the full gates. And after every heavy lane, inspect the environment before starting the next one. That sounds boring. But boring is what you want from a build system. The disk cleanup system followed the same philosophy. I stopped asking, what can I delete? That question is too dangerous. Instead, I asked, what category is this? Source of truth, evidence, generated state, cache, stale artifact, unknown. Source of truth is sacred. Game code, project settings, package configuration, source assets, scripts, and documentation stay. Evidence is preserved carefully. QA summaries, final release notes, important validation reports, and selected build audits are useful because they explain why a decision was made. Generated state is different. Generated Xcode projects can usually be recreated. Unity library cache can usually be recreated. Derived data can usually be recreated. Simulator build outputs can usually be recreated. But only if I know what generated them. That was the key distinction. I do not delete something because it is large. I delete it because I understand its role. This is where AI agents helped again. I could ask an agent to map disk usage. Which directories are growing? Which ones are generated? Which ones are tied to a release? Which ones are just local cache? But the final cleanup decision still had to be conservative. An agent can classify. The human has to decide what is safe. For process cleanup, I built a small pre-flight script. Its job is simple. Look for Unity helper processes, look for package manager or licensing helpers, report what is running, and refuse unsafe cleanup if the main Unity editor is active. That refusal is important. Good cleanup is not aggressive. Good cleanup is specific. A bad cleanup script kills everything that looks related. A good cleanup script knows when to stop. This mattered because stale helper processes can create confusing failures. A Unity licensing helper might still be around. A package manager process might be left over. A simulator might still be booted. An old build process might make the next run look broken when the code is actually fine. So the cleanup step became part of the build ritual. Inspect. Clean only known leftovers. Then continue. The other security lesson was about logs. Logs are powerful. They also leak context. A raw release audit can contain signing identity names, team identifiers, local usernames, provisioning profile paths, archive paths, and private environment details. None of that belongs in a public video. So, for this workflow, I treat logs as sensitive by default. The audience does not need my signing details. They need to see the engineering pattern. Build result, build duration, build size, cleanup status, submission checks, no debug markers, no QA only strings, no raw credentials, no account screens. That is enough. For anything release related, I use filtered and redacted output. The idea is not to hide the work. The idea is to show the work without exposing the system. This is especially important for solo developers. When you are the engineer, build manager, release manager, and security reviewer, your screen recording can accidentally become a map of your infrastructure. So, I built the video workflow around safe evidence. Show memory budgets, show disk categories, show cleanup scripts, show redacted paths or fail summaries. Do not show account pages, do not show keychains, do not show raw environment variables, do not show shell history, do not show private signing information. That might sound overly cautious, but release infrastructure is part of the product. Protecting it is part of shipping. If I had to summarize the whole system, it would be 5 steps. Measure, classify, serialize, redact, verify. Measure means every claim needs a number. Memory growth, frame time, folder size, build duration, artifact size. Classify means every large thing needs a label. Source, evidence, cache, generated output, stale release artifact, unknown. Serialize means heavy jobs run one at a time. Unity, Xcode, Simulator, QA, archives, and uploads should not fight each other. Redact means public evidence should prove the system without exposing secrets. Verify means every cleanup and every optimization needs a follow-up check. Did disk usage drop? Did the process list clear? Did managed memory stay within budget? Did the build still pass? Did the release audit still say the right things? This changed how I felt while building. Before this system, every cleanup felt risky. Every large folder felt suspicious. Every build failure could have been code, cache, signing, simulator state, or some invisible leftover process. After the system, the work became calmer, not easy, but legible. And that is what I think AI-assisted development really needs. Not just faster code generation, legibility. The machine should be able to explain what happened. The agent should be able to summarize what changed. The logs should preserve the decision, the cleanup should be repeatable, and the developer should be able to trust the next run. That is the real value here. AI agents helped me build faster, but memory budgets and cleanup gates made that speed survivable. The game was one product. The build system around it became the second product. And as an indie dev, that second product might be what actually lets you finish. Because launching is not just writing the game. Launching is keeping the whole environment stable long enough to make one correct final build. So my rule now is simple. If an AI agent makes me faster, I also need a system that makes me safer. Measure the pressure, classify the output. Clean only what you understand, redact what you show, and verify before you trust it. That is how I kept building. So if you are interested in practical AI-assisted engineering, agent swarms, and building real projects with these tools, subscribe and follow the journey.